Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Ariel Bar Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.koshertorah.com. Still messing around with my camera here, as you can tell. Trying to get everything ready for our little discussion this evening. Well, as we all know, we are in the middle of the COVID-19, what should I call it, epidemic, pandemic, fear, crisis, a whole bunch of different words, terms. We all know what's going on in the world today. We all see what's going on out there. And I think that before we address issues Kabbalistically, I want to address just something halachically. In other words, in accordance to the concepts of Jewish law. I posted this on my Facebook page just within the past hour or so. I was recently approached with a question by one of my students asking with regards to going to a minyan, which is the traditional prayer gathering of 10 or more men. For those of you aware of or practicing our Torah traditions, you know that we always pray in a group. Well, under the circumstances now, what is the concern? Well, here was what I said to him. Let's be honest. In my opinion, as I've made it very clear in the past, yes, we must take every precaution with regards to the spread of this virus. But at the same time, I do recognize that it is not the bubonic plague. It is not the Black Death. Someone who catches this stands a very, very good chance of recovering. It has at present, I think, a 95 to a 99% survival rate. That's pretty good. But there's the issue. You may get sick. You may get better. But at the same time, you may infect someone else who is not as strong as you, who may get grievously ill and ultimately die because of exposure from you. As far as halacha, spirituality, and everything else is concerned, that makes you complicit to murder. That's really serious. The rabbis have always said, and they say this in the land of Israel, the Medinat Yisrael, right now, when it comes to medical issues, we listen to what the doctors say. I'm not going to go to my attorney, my lawyer, or my accountant and ask them for advice with open heart surgery. Well, I'm not going to go to a rabbi and ask for medical advice either. And don't you dare give me this false Torah saying rabbis know everything and are infallible. Rabbis are not the Pope, and stop treating them like that. Rabbis, thank God, are good, saintly, pious human beings learned in our holy Torah. And our Torah teaches us, you listen to doctors with regards to medical issues. And the doctors in Israel have pretty much closed down the entire country, have placed almost the entire country in quarantine. That's pretty serious. Now, I may or may not like that. I may or may not agree or disagree. That's neither here nor there. But it is the facts. They know what they're doing, and they're saving lives. I'm not worried about the young. I'm not worried about the healthy. I'm worried about everyone else. Now, the Rabbanit and I, thank God, we're healthy. We eat healthy. We take supplements. We exercise. We're in good shape, even though I am of that age bracket, which may be considered higher risk. I don't consider myself higher risk, but I have a moral obligation to myself, my family, my loved ones, to take the appropriate precautions because what if? Just in case. You see, this is what we call a safek, a doubt, a question in our Torah tradition. And it is with regards to the question of life and death, which makes it a Torah law. And our rabbis have said, a safek du'araita lahachmir. Whenever there's a question in doubt with something of the Torah, you take a stricter opinion. And it was the Rabbanit herself, God bless her, who over a week ago said, please don't go expose yourself in certain areas. We used to go to, Gold's Gym every day. She said, please don't go. I acquiesced to her. We started doing, our good old military calisthenics here in the house, push-ups, sit-ups, and all the rest. And I think it was just yesterday that Gold's Gyms closed down so as to stop the spread of the virus. The Rabbanit was ahead of the curve by over a week. She understood. So I encourage you today, please pay heed to what the doctors say. No, there's no reason to panic. I was hearing one of my students here. I got my special coronavirus t-shirt here. You can see it. It says, don't panic. That should be our subtle little message here. Relax. Take it easy. Many of you might know this is from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you're at home and you want to watch a fun movie, go watch it. It's enjoyable. But the point again is, with regards to halacha, practice, and don't give me this Jew and Gentile stuff, please. This is for everybody. This is common sense. Every pastor of every church, every rabbi of every synagogue, every imam of every mosque, every gathering and leader of the gathering knows. We're not worried about the healthy. We're worrying about those who are susceptible. So this individual who sent me the question that you'll see on Facebook is a young man. And he inquired, he says, I can go to a minyan. Nothing's going to happen to me. But I said, yeah, but what happens when you get exposed? And you expose your mother, he said, his grandmother, as the case may be. I said, things can happen. Do you really want to take a gamble on someone's life? Really? My gosh. Well, on what moral foundation could you possibly base that on? I am not one for panic. I don't believe in the panic. I believe that this pandemic is going to pass. I think we're going to look back at this 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line, scratch our head and say, what were we doing? But you want to know something? I would rather be safe than sorry. I would rather be over-prepared, overprotective, so that I can look back and say, okay, I didn't have to do that much, and we avoided the problem. Rather than be underprepared, not able to address the problem, and look back from the future and says, oh my God, what we could have done to have saved lives. All right? This is where we have to start taking religion and bringing it down to earth, making things real. Now, with that being said, I hope the halacha being clear. No, in my opinion anyway, I don't think you have to lock yourself up in your room, with the shotgun keeping everybody out. I think that might be a little overkill, but please listen to what the medical authorities are saying. And for those of you who are conspiratorial, I was sitting and sharing with my private students all kinds of make-believe, fantasaical, concocted ideas. And I said, hey, you got a conspiracy theory? I can make up one even better. Could we put aside all the fantasies, all the foolishness, right? This is not a military plot. This is not the prelude for a zombie apocalypse. This is not the end of the world. The aliens are not invading. All right? Please, can we put, aside the silliness? We have to get real. When we want, and this is, as you know, here at our KosherTorah School, I try to emphasize what authentic and real Torah mysticism, Kabbalah, is all about. I think it's vital that we take the mystical and make it rational so that we can make it applicable. And I focus on experiential spirituality. Those of you, my students, you know this. And while I'm mentioning this, I want to make a statement here for all of our students. We are all entering into, right now, unsettling times. The normalcy bias has been upset. No one knows what the future holds. Financially, a lot of people are going to have upheavals. And most likely that will reflect back to us in our school. We get by on the charity and the support of you. Now, I understand that many of my students may have financial issues and may want to, have to hold back their support of me and our school because of it. If that is the case, I want you, my students, to know no one's being kicked out of our school. No one's being dropped off of any lists. No one is leaving anywhere. If you don't want to study with us, that's your choice by all means. I wish you best, but I'm not going to take away learning and Torah at this vital time because people don't have financial ability. You guys have always been there for me when I need you. I'm going to be here for you when you need me. And that's just the way it is. In all 30 plus years that we've ran this school, we've always trusted in God, and I'm going to still trust in God. Somehow, someway, the bills will get paid. Your bills, my bills, our bills. But let's stick together in the study of Torah and do what we need to do. All right? That is halacha, the practical, the realistic. So again, follow the rules of the doctors, do your hygiene, do all the normal stuff that you already know. Okay? I don't need to repeat it. I'm like they say, beating a dead horse. Hey, don't panic. Just relax. If you have the opportunity of this time, use it wisely. I am taking advantage of this time myself by offering daily Torah study in the Sefer Yetzirah. Who's teaching Sefer Yetzirah out there? Go Google anywhere, see who's teaching it publicly. I think I'm the only one. Do you know why I chose that book? Because it deals with the science of creation. It deals with understanding the realities of this world. And I'm teaching it from the text of Rabbi Chaim Vital, so you have an authoritative basis there. Short, simple lessons, 15, 20 minutes a day. And they're going to pile up. So in time, you'll be able to binge watch them. It's all free. All free. I'm not asking for a dime. You want to donate to us, you know how to donate to us, okay? Like I said, God's going to guide you like God guides me. This is how God's guiding me. God will guide you. Enough said. I have to confess. For 30 plus years running my school, I hope and pray I've been a good rabbi, but I confess I'm a lousy businessman. All right? You got many of my peers out there who I'm very, very upset with, who they're saying, I have the magical cure and solution for the virus. If you do this and you do that, well, the verse in the book of Psalms does say, Tzedakah matzil memavet. Charity saves from death. So, who should be so immoral and rude to manipulate that to say, if you send me money, well, the Lord will give you blah, blah, blah. You know what? If you hear anybody talking like that or insinuating like that, please do yourselves a favor. Turn that person off. I don't care what religion it is. I don't care who that individual is. Because real spirituality is not based on bribery, manipulation. And let's be blunt, and you'll forgive me, but I got to say it. It's not based on lies. Now, with that being said, I want to give you a lesson tonight in, somebody's saying here, snake oil salesman. Yeah, you got it. And I see this all over Facebook now. People are presenting all these things. You know what? Let's just jump right in, okay? I have here a book. It's one of the many books of Sigulot and what is this one called? Sigulot, Trufot, and Mazalot. It's about all kinds of treasures and healings and all kinds of astrology stuff. And in here, you will see the picture of the diagram that is popularly being presented now on the internet, saying if you gaze at this, it's going to save you from the virus. Here, gaze at it. It's on film. You can stop it. All right? Take a picture of it if you want. It's from the Ariel, and it has an earlier source from the writings of Rabbi Eliezer Gemiza and others. It's a lovely diagram. But you want to know? Yeah, hold on a second. Let me go blow it up. Can you see what that word right there? It says kameya. A kameya means an amulet. An amulet is something that requires to be written on parchment with all kinds of specific details and laws and invocations and holiness and stuff like that, the likes of which you have outlined in a number of books, amongst them the Shoresh Shamot and the like. You know how many experts are out there who really understand amulets? Gosh, count them on the fingers of one hand. For those of you who think that you can look at something and it's going to work, well, I'm sorry to say, probably not. It doesn't work like that. But now, with that being said, I have to say something else. There is one organization out there, again, very popular. It's all over the internet now. And they're saying if you, what is the word they use? Scan, I think that's it. Scan these words, look at these words, magically, poof, you're going to be protected. You know something? That is what I strongly condemn. Because people believe this, and I don't mind what people believe. What I do mind is that they believe these types of things at the expense of doing what else is necessary. There have been a number of times with so-called Kabbalists, okay? You go Google this, you'll find exactly what I'm talking about. So-called holy men who will go to you and say, for a nice big charity donation, all right, God, I'll give you a blessing and your cancer will be cured, whatever is going to happen, and promising miracles. People end up trusting in this holy man. They will avoid appropriate medical necessities, and they end up dead. They die. You know, I'm going to drive home this point. Many, many years ago, I knew a couple, a young religious couple from here in the United States, and the wife got involved with one of these, in quote, Kabbalistic healers, and they had a 6-year-old son. And she ran off with the child to be with this Kabbalistic healer, who, mind you, was a woman. And the child got sick. He had the flu, had a virus, whatever. And the Kabbalistic healer said, I will heal this child with the Kabbalistic powers that be. The child died because of lack of medical conditions. And I am the one who got the phone call from Israel requesting me as the rabbi to break that news to the brokenhearted father. You want that responsibility on your shoulders? I certainly don't. So therefore, please understand the reality and nature of things. And I'm going to explain it to you right now. Kabbalah, real Kabbalah, does work. But real Kabbalah is not hocus pocus. What people are trying to sell you today is like a pill. Do you have an illness? Do you have a problem? Well, take this pill and everything will be fine. Do you have a financial problem? Do you want to be a billionaire? Take this pill 3 times a day for a week and you'll be a billionaire. What else? You want to be young again? You want to be in your 20s? Take this pill 3 times a day for 7 days and you'll be young, you'll be beautiful, you'll be this, you'll be that. Those types of pills don't exist. That type of mentality is a fantasy which is guiding people down wrong paths. There's nothing wrong with being a billionaire. God bless, we should all be healthy, wealthy, wise, and all the rest. God bless, we should all be young, whatever. All of that is fine. We don't have a problem with this physical world as I see some other people do. We don't have that Greek Stoic mentality in which this physical world is bad and evil and good riddance to it. No, this is a good, blessed world God gave us. Go read your Bibles. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses. Everybody enjoyed this world. So should we. But we have to recognize that this world operates in accordance to the laws of its own parameters. But the laws of the parameters of which we speak include higher dimensional realities. And it's a knowledge of, an awareness of, and an interaction of these higher dimensional realities that can and do work for us. and define for us what we can call authentic Kabbalah. Now, how and what does that work? Well, not by what we can call wishful thinking. I can wish whatever I want. Right? I wish I was 6'6". I'm gonna wish, I'm gonna wish, I'm gonna wish. Did I grow any? You know, I always love to give people a little demonstration of reality and humility at the same time. Maybe I could do that right now. Do I have anything on my desk here I could demonstrate with? Not really. Yeah, I have a bottle of water here. How's that? Okay, here. I'm going to give you a demonstration of reality and humility. Now, you all, of course, are familiar with Star Wars, the power of the Force, and Jedis, right? How many of us are real Jedis? Well, you remember Luke Skywalker and all the rest that could levitate things? Well, here. If I'm a Jedi, I should be able to levitate this bottle. I'm going to use my Jedi powers. It's not levitating. It's right here. It's not moving anywhere. Oh my gosh. What's wrong with me? I don't think anything's wrong with me. All I could say is it's a lesson in reality. I'm not a Jedi. Jedis are for the movies and for television. But I also know that there are powers and abilities far beyond such limitation. When I practice in my martial arts with things like Qigong and the other types of things, I can do a lot of really cool stuff, and I practice that. Levitation of the bottle of water here in front of you is not one of those things, okay? When those people here online are trying to say, do this and do that, they're trying to address your panic. They're trying to sell you, like somebody said earlier, snake oil, which is the metaphor, of course, for saying, you know, something that's not true, a false pill. And usually they try to manipulate something else out of you, whether it be charity donations or false hopes and beliefs. And that's the problem. Can God do anything? God does everything. But you know what's the beauty about this virus? Somebody actually brought this to my attention. The whole world now is being brought to its knees. Our economy is being shaken globally. France is in lockdown. Israel is in lockdown. Communities around here in the United States and individuals who are posing danger are being put in lockdown. You can say, what about the Constitution and all that? Forget all that stuff. Reality of saving lives come first. And the reality is we're going to learn that. People are like going back home. They're being forced to like spend time with their families. They're taught about natural hygiene. You have people who are running to the stores and buying what? Toilet paper? I was with the Rabbinit earlier this morning. We had to go out and get some stuff, and we did it so appropriately, properly, and quickly. And in our local Whole Foods, you should know, they had all the fruits and vegetables, all the fresh fruits and vegetables. They had all the meats and the cheeses and the fish and everything, kosher, not kosher. They even had kosher Passover matzah already. Granted, I couldn't buy toilet paper or sanitation wipes or whatever, but everything else is there. It's not the end of the world. Everything is available. Just take it easy. Matun, shwehe, shwehe. Okay, I promised I'm going to give you real Kabbalah, so let's do that now. Here, let's go back to amulets. This is an amulet. This is something that's written on a parchment. It has no magic to it. But what it does is has a power to invoke your mind, your faith. This only works through the power of faith. In other words, if you believe in it, it'll have power. If you don't believe in it, it doesn't. But that power of faith is not going to stop a virus from entering your body or stop or hinder its process. But what it might do, that faith might do, is convince you of the proper behaviors and actions that you need to take in the realistic world so as to protect and defend yourselves from such illnesses. For those of you who think that there's magic here, remember some of the great and holy rabbis died in illnesses, plagues. And that includes the great Ariel. That includes Rabbi Nachman of Breslov and the Ramchal, three of the great Kabbalistic minds of the past few hundred years. They all like 38 years old, and they succumbed to whether there was plague or tuberculosis or anything of the kind. These things happen. And I'm sure they knew all of this in, quote, magic. But in the words of Master Yoda, strong as we are with the Force, but not that strong. But let's talk about faith. Let's talk about emunah, the power of the mind, and how it actually realistically operates. As I'm teaching now in the Sefer Yetzirah course, which is going to be, it's available on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on my Patreon page. It's free there for anyone who wants it. I'm sharing with you that which our sages have always called the du partsufim, the dual reality of what we have. Somebody's making a mention here of the brass serpent that Moses used for healing. Go back and look, and you'll find that the power that healed wasn't the brass serpent. It was the faith behind it. And that's what I'm trying to help you understand right now. The power of faith. Faith! What does Judaism have to say about faith? Isn't faith like the Christian belief? Well, gee whiz. What was the name of that guy who said, faith, yeah. The righteous live by their faith. What was the name of that Christian who said that? Oh, that's right, Habakkuk. Wait, he was a Jewish prophet, wasn't he, Habakkuk? Yeah, he was. So that statement, Tzadok be'emunato yichyeh, a righteous live by their faith, that's a Jewish concept. Son of a gun. What did the rabbis ever say about that? Did you ever ask? Did you ever study in the Gemara, Talmud, tractate Makot? The Gemara says something very profound. That, summing up a whole little teaching there, that the entire Torah could be summed up into one single commandment. That being the words of the prophet Habakkuk. The righteous live by faith. And that is the point. Somebody's asking, what about angelic names and the talismans and amulets? How does that relate to faith? Well, George, I'm going to answer that question as we proceed. Because you see, when you want to talk to angels, and when you want to write amulets, who and what are you addressing? Think about it. If I have an enemy, God forbid, he's got a knife or a gun, and we're at war, you're like a soldier in combat. What angelic name can you call upon that's going to stop the bullets? That's going to stop the knife? Gosh, if you know that name, you tell me, right? I'll go into business with you. I'll sell it to every soldier in the world, and we'll make billions. You don't think the soldiers in Israel who are religious, who study Kabbalah, they don't know all these things? Names like Taftafia and all the rest? Oh, I teach all about this stuff. It's all out there. But none of this works by magic. What it does is works by faith. And the faith is the energy that you're able to draw from that higher dimension. Remember we said the dual reality, the du partsufim? That higher reality, which we call the spiritual realm. As you'll see in the Sefer Yetzirah, we're talking about that now. We're referring to it, in general as the Chokhmah within Zerampin. I'm not going to get into all the details here because we have it discussed there. Check it out. We have a higher potential, a psychic potential. And when you really, really, really want to talk with the angels, when we can and we do, I teach this in my meditation courses. What do you think the angels are saying to you? Number one, they're communicating with you telepathically through archetypal imagery and dreams and visions, which makes it a psychological phenomenon. And none of them are saying to you, use my name as a bulletproof shield and go out and stand in front of bullets like Superman. I've never seen a Kabbalist or anybody else do that. I think anybody who would even tried that, little touched in the head, but they wouldn't be alive long enough to be put into a mental hospital. They'd be dead. Right? No, these things don't happen. Let me share with you again a grounded reality of recent times. In the martial arts traditions, there are people who have accomplished tremendous amounts of spiritual abilities. And when they gathered to fight off the invading forces in old China back at the beginning of the 1900s, in what was called the Boxer Rebellion, they were ruthlessly crushed by enemy bullets that pierced their bodies. They thought they had all kinds of magic and everything that would stop the bullets. It didn't work. This is not the way we deal with things. Our holy sages taught us, Ein somchim ala nes. We do not rely on a miracle. What is a miracle? The overwhelming intervention of a higher dimensional reality into our own. Let's use the language of the movie The Matrix. Reprogramming the program of the Matrix, or the reality of the world, doesn't happen like that. That doesn't work. Neo is a character in a movie. It is entertaining. It's cool. But we are not Neo. We're not Luke Skywalker. We're not Master Yoda. We don't have these mystical, magical powers to leap tall buildings in a single bound. We're not Superman. But the powers of our Kabbalistic abilities through the power of the mind are real and have been real since the dawn of the human race. Jews don't have a monopoly on this. Every religious, spiritual, transformational culture around the world through time has experienced the exact same things. We can evolve human consciousness, become aware of, and integrate with the greater reality. So, if I was to go into my meditative trances, and I was to invoke holy names, and have a vision of this or that malach, and I were to communicate with the malach telepathically through a dream vision, which you might say is real or unreal, whatever. For me, the individual receiving it's very real. And that guide, spiritual guide, magid, malach, will say and guide you and say, listen to the doctors, wash your hands, don't go to this place, do that thing. That is how psychic, telepathic, angelic, Kabbalistic communication occurs. And you might have that right now without even knowing it. So, that is the truth of things. All right? I want to share with you now some actual techniques and tools that possibly, God be willing, if you so choose, will help open you up to be more sensitive to and aware of the greater field of powers here. The real, if you will, magic in medicine. Not just wishful thinking, but the projection of positive thought, not onto yourself, but to project out into the collective. I teach this in my teachings about prayer, whether in Jewish ritual format like the Shema and the Amidah, or in general. We are at one level psychically all connected to one another. This is the wise teachings of our holy sages that said, Kol Yisrael aruvin ze leze. All of Israel, not just Jews, all of Israel, are interconnected. Aruv means to be interconnected. Where you don't see the beginning and the end, it's all merged as one. Psychically, we have a hive mind. This is what the Arizal taught about all souls being collective in Adam. So somehow, somewhere, your mind, my mind, our minds are all connected. And as such, if I want to put the concept or thought of healing out into the world, then through the power of my faith, my sincerity, my focus, I project through visual imagery or words the power and the process of positive thinking. Now, there is this whole thought process of positive thinking. If you think positive, you get positive. Well, sometimes yeah, and sometimes no. I've seen that philosophy applied in business in many a time. Many religious leaders, more so Christian than Jewish, will say, yes, if you think positive, act positive, think rich, act rich, you'll be rich. Well, that doesn't always work. If you really want to be wealthy, physically, financially, you have to get into business and you have to make the right decisions. You have to do the smart business things. Not like a crazy old rabbi who only focuses on his Torah and trusts in God. You're the ones who have to build the business. Hey, I built the yeshiva. You build the business. Okay? It works for us all. But that's practicality. And when you practice meditation, and when you do reach out into the greater psychic mind, you will receive insight, wisdom, guidance that will tell you, do this, practice that, this way, not that way. And by becoming sensitive to and aware of that little inner voice within that speaks and guides you, you will know what is right for you and what's not. That's what I teach here at the KosherTorah School. It is never follow me. I'm not your leader. I'm just a little old rabbi here who's teaching you from within my little old office. My job is to get you to follow God and to find God within yourselves and to recognize the truths that you think are inside you. So let's practice a little bit of real Kabbalistic magic and understand how it works. Not through just magic, wishful thinking, hocus pocus, but by the real passion and focus and desire. It's a technique, an older tool. You'll find this in many of the older Kabbalistic texts. And I'm going to share with you now what we call a Shem Kadosh. It is based upon Numbers chapter 12, verse 13. Now, I think that in the camera, it might be a reverse image. I don't know how to fix that. If some of you know how to fix that, you'll have to tell me. I don't know how to do it. Numbers 12, 13. So here it is. You can take a look at it. All right. This is the verse in which Miriam opened up her mouth and spoke against her brother Moshe Rabbeinu, questioning the woman that he had married. Why is she marrying her? And God said, Moses is my man. You're going to question his choice of wife? And she was struck with leprosy. So Aharon freaked out. And Moses prayed. And Numbers 12:13 says, Moses cried to Hashem and said, I beseech you, O God, please heal her. Now, this is a long statement for 5 simple Hebrew words. Here it is. El na refanala. All right. El na, please God. God, please. Rafana, heal her, please. Or please heal her. And what we do is take the capital letters called the Reshe Tevot of these 5 words, and we come up with this little what's called Shem Kadosh, a holy name. And yet this is one of those names you're actually allowed to recite out loud. And it's just those 5 initial letters of the 5 words. Aleph, Nun, Resh, Nun, Lamed. E, Nar, Nala. Enar Nala. So, Enar Nala. If you want to pray and say, Dear God, by the power of your holy Torah, by the power of pure thought and true faith, may it be your will, through the words of your servant Moses, Elna Refanala, by the power of the Reshe Tevot therein, which you can actually recite as a mantra. This is the technique. This is why we use like capital letters. It becomes a chant. And you can visualize projecting out positive thoughts, light, calmness, don't panic, good thoughts, good thinking. And you could say, Ilna refanala, Ilna refanala, Ilnarnala, Anna Hashem, please Hashem. And you can daven, you can rock back and forth, and you become a source of positive energy and light. That through the power of the mind, through your positive projection externally, you make a difference in the mind of the collective of all humanity. And somehow, somewhere, some way, someone will receive those intentions from you, which will motivate them and inspire them to do the right things that need to be done to safeguard their health and the health of those around them. So don't you underestimate the ability of the power that you have to do great things, because you can do it. And that's just the way these things work. This is real Kabbalah. No, it's not magic. It's psychic. It's telepathic. It's the power of the mind through clarity and focus, which we call in Hebrew, emunah, faith. That is the way these things really work. So if you're looking to take a pill and just say, okay, yeah, I'm going to stare at this, or I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to give this money to the rabbi, and he'll do it for me. No, it doesn't work like that. Don't go around taking chances, thinking that you have Kabbalistic insurance. You have spiritual insurance because you did this and you did that. It is that kind of thinking that's going to get you and others in trouble. And again, I'm going to repeat it because it's so important. You might decide that you're not really in danger. You're not in the category in which you're so concerned. And again, like I said earlier, if you look at the statistics, the mortality rate is in, single digits. It's very small. Most people are going to get better. But that's not the point. The point is not who gets better. The point is you very well may get better. But if you have this disease and it is so communicable, who could you possibly infect? Who could possibly then infect someone else? You could become a link in a chain, which can end up causing a fatality. You really want that on your shoulders? You want that, if you will, karma? Our halacha from Torah requires of us to take whatever steps necessary to safeguard life. That is what we need to understand. I'm reading something here in the text. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Okay, you understand now what I'm trying to say. The power that we have is within ourselves. And this is what real Kabbalah is all about. Now, you have other types of amulets. There's an old amulet from a book called Kabbalah Ma'asiot. You can see by my little things here, I'm well versed in it. And again, this is specifically a kameya lekadahat. It's supposedly an amulet against fever. But if you read the words, it's a prayer. May it be your will, O God, that by the power of all of these symbolic representations, may so-and-so be cured and free of such and such an ailment. It's a prayer. And the prayer is based upon one's faith. So therefore, again, if you're looking for magic, here's your magic. Looks great, But when you read these things, as I do, you read and recognize that they are symbols that represent certain ideas, concepts, that without a knowledge of what those ideas and concepts represent, it's like a language which you cannot read. It's like receiving a letter in a language that you do not understand. Well, what good is it? If I sent you a letter saying, congratulations, you've just won $1 billion, and here's the bank account, all you got to do is internet, go to the internet, to this website or whatever, call this number, whatever, and it's legit. But I write it in a language that you've never seen or heard. You wouldn't be able to read it. You wouldn't be able to understand it. And even if I told you what it was, you would still look at it without any kind of a contact or a connection. That is what these Kabbalistic things are to most of us. You don't understand them. You look at them with awe and imagination and wonder. And that's good. That's fine. And the awe and the imagination and the wonder will fill you with, hopefully, the respect of these things. But to think that that respect alone will cause these things to function, compare that to, if you will, a photograph, a picture, or even a video of an automobile. Wow, that's cool. You're impressed. You're inspired. But it's not like you have the car in your driveway and you know how to drive. It's a big difference. So again, with all these things that you see on the internet, from all these others who are out there, some rabbis, some not, who are saying to you in the name of Kabbalah, just scan this or look at that or take a copy of this photograph, scan a copy and put it in your pocket and it will protect you. No, it won't. And I'm going to tell you that right out. Do you know what might protect you? Your own faith. Your own faith in such a thing might, depending on the level of your devotion. Now, I was going to share with this earlier. I'll say it now. I've shared this before. Many, many years ago, I was out in Los Angeles, and I was asked some comments on a Kabbalistic group out there and some of their practices. One of which they claimed was that you could scan the Zohar, and it will bring to you all kinds of magical, brilliant results. And I was asked, does the Kabbalah really teach that? And I responded in the words of Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag, who is the writer of a commentary to the Zohar called the Sulam, which this group actually, embraces. And he himself said in that commentary that without reciting the words and the sounds of the letters of the Zohar, then just looking at it means nothing. You have to have the sound. I had a young woman in the audience at that time. She raised her hand rather sheepishly and says, but when I look at the Zohar, it really means something to me and it inspires me. That's my dramatic pause for saying, she was right. She was that one unique individual for whom scanning, because of her own faith, her own beliefs, her own awe, it would work for her. No, the scanning is not going to be a bulletproof shield to protect her from anything, but it inspired her to do the right things. That's good. So I encourage you that you should have a respect for, a love for that which is holy. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what path you choose. But have a respect and know that there is a higher reality around us. And the ways and means of a virus follow the laws and rules of this world. And you will see that even great and mighty and holy and lofty souls succumb to the most mundane and physical of illnesses. which rob them of life in the prime of youth. That's the reality of things. So, where is the spiritual power in their faith? In the wise words of Master Yoda, a fictional character, but whose words still ring true. Strong as I am with the Force, but not that strong. Please understand what it is I'm trying to say to you. I believe that our Torah mystical traditions, the Kabbalah, have some of the wealthiest, most beautiful, inspirational, transformational, psychic building tools and lessons that are available for the human species at this time. I'm honored that with whatever understanding I have, I'm able to provide these lessons for our students who want to come learn with us. That's why I'm putting all this out there for you. But at the same time, it's not enough that you just read a book or look at a picture. You need understanding. You see, the intuitive and the psychic requires intellect and understanding. The intuitive psychic in Kabbalah is called Abba. And the rational intellect is called Ima, mommy and daddy. And only when mommy and daddy couple, bond, link, you know what I mean, do we have the birth of the child, the son, who is called Ze'er Anpin, the small face, Adam above, us. We are the byproducts of the realm of mind and thought. But the realm of mind and thought in that other dimensional plane, granted it surrounds us all around, still operates in its own laws and parameters within the context of its being, like this physical world operates in accordance to the laws of its being. Don't confuse the two. The ways of this physical world do not apply to the spiritual world, and the spiritual world do not apply to the ways of this physical world. That's a very important teaching in our Torah tradition. When it comes to the practice of halakha, Jewish law, the function of our religion, we don't turn to God and ask heaven to reveal to us its will. We never ask God, Lord, what is your will? How do we observe your Sabbath properly? There's a very famous teaching in the Talmud of argument between the rabbis. One side was led by Rabbi Eliezer, and the majority was with Rabbi Yehoshua. And the issue of discussion, Baba Metzia, Daf Nun Tet Amud Aleph, if I'm not mistaken, it was discussing a type of an oven, whether or not this oven could be considered ritually kosher or not. Technically speaking, it was okay. But the rabbis were concerned about human issues because certain things about this oven looked confusing. They were concerned about the human element. And therefore, they decided that the human element had to override and take precedent over everything else. And therefore, they said, no, we're going to forbid the use of this oven. Rabbi Eliezer protested, but it's allowable. They said, no, we're not going to allow it. Rabbi Eliezer was adamant, but you have to, because it's kosher. And he calls upon the powers of heaven and earth to bear witness to him. Miraculous events occurred. A river that was outside the school started to flow backwards as a sign of his authority over nature. The walls of the school itself started to shake. And finally, a voice from heaven spoke and challenged the rabbis, saying, why do you rabbis argue with Rabbi Eliezer when you know he's true, he's right? Well, you would think that with such an authority of the voice of God, the rabbis would say, yes, Lord, we are sorry. On the contrary, the opposite, Rabbi Yehoshua stood up and quoted the book of Deuteronomy And he says to the voice from heaven, it was an angel or God himself, the Torah says that the Torah is not in heaven. Right? Torah is on the earth. You remember the famous verse later in the Bible, the heavens are the heavens of the Lord, but the earth he gave to the children of men. And the rabbi said, we here on earth possess the Torah, and we've decided accordingly. End of the story. The law was made that the oven was forbidden. Period. Weeks later, one of the sages who was at this debate had a vision of Eliyahu Hanavi, the great immortal prophet. And says, oh my gosh, Eliyahu, what was God thinking when Rabbi Yehoshua and the sages pretty much told God to bud out of his own Torah? I mean, how heretical, how arrogant can you get? And Eliyahu stood there and laughed. He says, oh no, on the contrary, God is proud of Rabbi Yehoshua. God laughed. God, it's all symbolic language, of course. And says, Benin nitzehuni, my children have defeated me. They're right. I gave human beings that authority, that ability to choose for themselves with wisdom, and they chose. Good for them. Erich Fromm, the great psychoanalyst, the author of the book The Art of Loving, he wrote in his book Shall Be Like God, that this is the essence of Judaism, and I agree. Freedom of choice brings with it responsibilities. We have responsibilities now. And we should not rely upon the fantasy and foolishness, saying, hey, God will provide, where we act irresponsibly. God helps those who help themselves. Wise words by the American founding father Benjamin Franklin. It's not in the Bible, but it should be, because it's a biblical concept. It's a Christian concept. The words of a Jewish boy named Yaakov, James, faith without your works is dead. Foundation of our Torah. When we say the righteous live by their faith, faith is not a proclamation of what you think. Faith is in the actions of what you do. So you live by faith. When doctors who are experts in the world of medicine, they tell you XYZ, listen to your doctors, please. If you have to go to court and laws, you go and listen to your lawyers. When you're turning to religion and Judaism, turn to authentic rabbis. When you want to study Kabbalah, turn to one who knows true Kabbalah. What more can I say? In case you missed it. Ilna refanala inarnala. No magic. Feel it. Believe it. Project it out. And what goes around, comes around. Karma? Okay, call it what you will. Again, you're my students. My doors are open for everybody. Right now, during this time, I'm here for you. I know you'll be here for me. Money's going to come from God. All right? I'm in the Torah world. That's what my job is. You're going to do your job. I'm going to do my job. All the jobs are going to get together. Wash your hands. Keep the social distance. We can protect your nose in faith. I don't have my little military tactical balaclava here that I put over the nose. I don't have. You can't find those masks anywhere. So, oh, here it is. Here it is. I showed this to you one of my other little videos here. Right? You can put this on like this. Whoop. All right. Yeah, there you go. Don't walk into a bank like this. But if you need to, you can always get something like this on Amazon. It costs a couple of bucks. And if that's what you need to do, then do it. I have one available just in case I need it. I haven't been using it yet, but just in case. So that's pretty much where we're at. Do what you need to do. Don't panic. Don't panic. Yeah, there we go. Better that way? Can you see it? Yeah. Don't panic. There you go. Just relax. We'll get through this. God is with us. We're with God. And most importantly, we are with one another. Let's keep that in mind and act accordingly. All right. God's blessings to you. Sefer Yetzirah classes, God bless, God be willing, going to be on every day. My private students, whatever your financial circumstances, don't worry about it. I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're going to keep it that way. The future, God will know. Stay healthy, guys. I'll see you in our next class. God bless. Thank you all for your support of our KosherTorah School, for your support of me, and most importantly, support of yourselves and your communities. God bless. Good night. Shalom.